Hello everyone. Today we are going to be taking a look at 3 different Xbox One controllers, and we're going to be discussing the customization, the special features, and overall which one is the best bet to buy in 2020. We have the Xbox Wireless Controller, the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller, and the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2. Hopefully by the end of today's video, you'll know which one is right for you. We're going to start off discussing the Xbox Wireless Controller. This particular controller is the Phantom Black Edition, but it functions the exact same as the standard controllers that you get in the Xbox One S and Xbox One X console bundles. This is the newer controller. So on the bottom we have the headphone jack, and also the link for the chat pad or your microphone pad. This particular controller, like I said, is the Phantom Black, so it has a semi-transparent top where you can see the internal components of the controller. But like I said, it functions the exact same as a normal controller. Over on the right, a nice thing they did is have the colors visible so that maybe you're still new to Xbox and you only know the buttons by the colors. You'll have no problem picking up on that. It has the left thumbstick, the right thumbstick, the D-pad, the share button, the start button, and then the right bumper, the left bumper, the left trigger, and the right bumper, the sync button, and a connection for micro USB. This particular controller, I've put on an Energizer battery pack. The controller itself did come with a pair of AA batteries, but if you're like me and you game a lot, you may want to buy a rechargeable pack. As far as customization goes for this controller, there are no physical customization options. Unless you consider buying a third-party attachment to here, there are no first-party button changes or anything that you can access with the hardware itself. However, the Xbox One does have a fairly nice accessory control center where you can remap the buttons to any button of your choice. So say you wanted your X button to become your left stick click, you could do that. I don't know why you would, but the option is always there, and I think it's nice that Microsoft includes this option for any controller. The triggers on this controller are the standard triggers. They have a nice full range of motion. This setting can be appreciated in racing games. However, if you play a lot of first-person shooters or other games where you need to press the left or right trigger repeatedly, these are noticeably slower and feel a bit more clunkier and just less clicky in general. If you listen, it's not the loudest click. It's not a very tactile feeling. It almost feels mushy. And then we also have the D-pad. I have no problems with the standard D-pad. It's great for fighting games like Injustice for a person with larger fingers. It works out great because I can still press like up and left at the same time, down and right at the same time. It's no problem. Overall, this controller does fit really well in the hand. And on the back, we also have the little textured grip. You can kind of hear it there. But that's about it for this controller. It's not a bad controller, but it may not be the right one for you. Next, we'll be discussing the Xbox Wireless Controller Series 1. It comes in a nice gray case. I have the white version. I believe the black version comes in a darker case. It is a zipper, and it has a nice attachment here where you could hang it from a backpack. It's a very sturdy carrying case, and it comes right in the box with the controller itself. Also included in the box was a set of AA batteries and this charging cable. It is micro USB, and the main reason it's included is so you can plug this controller directly into your Xbox One in case you were to run out of batteries. This controller also has Bluetooth technology, so you can connect it directly to your laptop. You don't need the adapter anymore, or your gaming PC, your phone, whatever you choose, you'll be able to connect it. And this case also includes a nice padding where your controller won't shake around in transit to places, and a well-organized accessory compartment for all of the different thumbsticks and paddles, as well as the non-standard D-pad with this controller. As with the Xbox wireless controller, this controller also includes the chat pad port and the headset jack. It includes all of the same standard buttons. But on the back, this is where you begin to see the differences. The Xbox Elite controller has hair trigger locks. And the hair trigger locks enable a much more clickier experience with the triggers. They are better able to be moved very quickly. So say you're playing a first-person shooter or another game where you need to press the triggers rapidly. These are great triggers for that. I'll turn one of them off and leave the other one on, and we'll be able to see the difference in speed and tactileness. That is with the hair trigger off. It's pretty quiet. If we turn it around with the hair trigger on, it's much more clickier. It doesn't feel mushy at all like with the standard wireless controller. My personal preference is to leave both hair triggers on. One thing to keep in mind though is if you're playing a racing game such as Forza, you're going to want to turn those off, otherwise your car won't go more than 2 miles per hour. The Xbox controller also includes this switch. You can change your profiles on the Xbox Accessories app. So say you have a certain setup that you want to use for Fortnite or a certain setup you use for Rainbow Six Siege. You'll be able to switch between these, and in an instant, all of your button mappings could be changed. You do have to set this up in the Accessories app though, and if you try to do it mid-game, it's not going to work, so you'll definitely want to be prepared. Within the case, we have the D-pad, a round stick. Personally, I don't use this round stick much, but it provides a more fluid motion. We have another one for the opposite side of the controller. And then 2 more thumbsticks. And at first glance, these appear to be normal. But if you look, they are much longer than the standard thumbsticks. And the reason for that is that with magnets, you can easily and seamlessly replace and have more control for certain games. And it's just a magnet, comes right off and goes right back on. Same thing with this D-pad. I'm not used to using this type of D-pad. My thumb is a bit too big for it, so I can't really use these corner ones. But for someone with very fine tactile skills, they'll really appreciate this because they are able to very, very accurately and quickly control what motion they do on the D-pad. This also removes, and you could put the standard D-pad directly into the controller in an instant as well. And the last part of this controller to cover is going to be the back. We have rubberized grips right here. They provide a much more solid experience than the Xbox wireless controller. And we also have 4 ports here for the paddles. And the paddles are also magnetized, and you are able to insert them directly into the back of the controller, and you can map each of these paddles to another button on the controller. So you could have this be your X button, this be your B button, no problem. And they also go in on the opposite side of the controller, so you can have up to 4 different customized buttons. And as mentioned with the profiles, you could even have each paddle be something different on 2 different profiles. And that's going to be it for the Xbox Elite wireless controller. And let's move on to the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2. So this is the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2. And as you can see, it comes in a very similar case to the first version of this controller. However, this time it's black. It still has the carabiner clip, but it also has a USB Type-C plug right here that you can cover with this rubberized stopper. And we'll go into why that's there once we open this baby up. So this is the black version of the controller. As of right now, this is actually the only color you can buy. Again, a braided cable is included, but this time it is USB Type-C, and that is because this controller is battery free. It's a rechargeable battery. You cannot take your AA's and put them into this controller. This backing is not removable. But that is not a problem, because not only did they include a cord, but this case doubles as a charging dock. You just remove this cloth and you can set your controller on top, and it will begin charging. On the controller itself, there is a small light right here that'll glow orange while it is charging. Again, we have the accessories. They are very much the same as with the first version of this controller, but they only include one of the rounded sticks, a very short stick, two very short sticks actually, and a long stick. And the round actually has some ribbing on it, so you have more grip. And this part in the middle allows you to change the tension of your thumbsticks. So say you're a gamer who likes to use high sensitivities, but one of your problems is that with a high sensitivity, it gets harder to control. This tension adjuster provides you the ability to twist the thumbstick and make it harder to move around. This allows you to have much more control over your character or your aiming, and it is also doable on this left stick. Aside from all of the standard buttons, this one differs from the original Elite controller because of this button, which controls profiles. You can have 3 custom profiles. Right now this is on custom profile 1, but you could change it to 2 and 3. If you press it again, now it's just a default controller every single button is just going to be exactly the way it would be in a standard Xbox One bundle. On the back, as opposed to one station for hair triggers, there are two. So this first click is going to be the same distance that was on the Series 1, but the second click is even shorter. And that provides you a much shorter hair trigger, which should allow for even faster button mashing in your gaming. And that's going to wrap it up for this controller. I will say that this one definitely feels the best in the hand, as the rubberized grip comes around onto the front for underneath your thumb. And it is on the back as well. For the next part of the video, we're going to be looking at trigger speeds for them. So this next footage is going to be me using a DMR in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and we're going to be taking a look at the fire rate, and if it's noticeable, I will have the standard controller, the Elite controller with the max hair triggers that it can have, and the Elite controller Series 2 with the max hair triggers that it can have, which are shorter than the Series 1. Let's see how that goes. Alright, with the Xbox wireless controller, I was able to empty the magazine in 3.85 seconds. With the Xbox Elite controller Series 1, I was able to empty the magazine in 3.01 seconds. Finally, with the Series 2 Elite controller, I was able to empty the magazine in 3.04 seconds. Alright, the results are in, and even though the wireless controller put up a good fight, it was 81 100ths of a second slower than the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller, which was 3 100ths of a second slower than the Series 1. Now, there could be several reasons for the difference in hair triggers. Maybe it's just my ability, but between the Series 2 and the Series 1, the difference is minuscule enough to where we can't really determine a clear winner. However, sorry, standard controller, this one you're out. That being said, both of these hair triggers feel very nice. Personally, I like the hair triggers on this one better, but these ones work just as well. At the end of the day, whichever controller you choose is gonna have to be the right choice for you. You don't want to settle for something or just get something because it's pricier. This controller, or even the standard Xbox wireless controllers, are $59.99, but this particular one is $69.99. This controller was $149.99 when I bought it. And this controller was $179.99 when I bought it. There is quite a big price range. These two cost more than double of this controller. Is that change really worth it for an everyday gamer? That's going to have to be up to you. One thing I will say though is that these two Elite controllers definitely earn the Elite branding. They allow you to do so much more as a gamer and allow for so much customization, And if you are the kind of person who wants to maximize your experience, not only with your in-game settings, but with the hardware you use, then these two controllers are definitely on top. So I will move this controller away for now, but that doesn't mean it's a bad controller. Now we'll focus on the difference between these two. You can find the Series 1 online for cheaper. It has less features and is older, but that by no means makes it a bad controller. This controller right here, the Series 2, is the best Xbox One first-party controller you can buy with money right now. It has the most options. You could change out all your buttons to where it's a standard Xbox One controller, or you could have every single option on here and make it a beast. And with all the different options for changing out thumbsticks and the D-pad and the paddles, there's no shortage of options for you to have. I personally prefer the Series 2 controller over the Series 1 controller. But like I said, that doesn't necessarily make either one better than the other for you. One thing I will say though, I did have this Elite controller first, and the right thumbstick has stick drift. It appeared probably about 7 months after I got this controller, and it progressively got worse and worse to now, even when it appears that this controller is sitting normal, it will still move my camera up. That is why I went with the Elite Controller Series 2. I wanted more durability, something newer, and I settled with this one. But that does not mean that none of these controllers are worth your time. But I will say, from my personal standpoint, the Series 2 controller outranks the first Elite controller, which outranks the standard controller. And there you have it. That is my review and comparison of these three Xbox controllers. Remember, at the end of the day, you gotta go with what feels best for you. Thank you so much for watching this far into the video. I know it was a bit of a long one today, but hopefully you got some good information from this and you'll be able to make a good decision in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.